Hello
Awesome.
and good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Morning,
Ha-
team. How are we all doing? Happy Friday.
We've started. I mean, it's gonna be a fun session today.
We never
Absolutely.
know where this is going to go.
No,
We've
we
got
never
a
do.
plan.
No.
But this is us though. This is why people love us and end up
Yeah,
working with us. It's great
it
Yeah.
because
definitely
we're
is.
human.
Yeah. And we
Oh,
apologize for Lewis's lack of branding. Just gonna throw that out there
Excuse
quite
me, I'm wearing actually my branded shirt. I was trying to find it today, thinking, where is it? But I've got a big advisor meeting straight after this with like 20 advisors, so they're gonna love that because they always mug me off for my branded merch. So yeah, it'd be great.
I definitely think what we're demonstrating here is what we're seeing and what we're feeling in our membership is summer holidays are a bit crazy, aren't they? So
Mm,
you've either got kids at home, you're navigating stuff you've got to do before you go away yourself. The out of office train is definitely on. So
mm.
people were feeling a bit disheveled, weren't they? So we put a message in the group the other day just to say, guys, I know how I'm feeling. You're not on your own. And there was quite a few people coming back going, I thought it was just me.
Yeah.
And look, that's just one of the things we're going to talk about today in respect of the Financial Planning Club and some of the things we get up to and how we support. But yeah, if you're watching live, and you've got us in your ear and you're doing something else, no problem at all. We get where it's at. If you're watching
Mm.
the recording, if you're live on a beach, I definitely need a post of that, please, on social media and tag us because
We
that would
had a
be
member that,
amazing.
didn't they? Who
You
was it?
did.
Was it Matt? I think it was
Yeah,
Matt, wasn't he? Turning up
yeah.
to a workshop that I was delivering. I can't remember which workshop it was. And he's got a pina colada on a beach in Thailand. I thought proper, I mean, proper mug us right off there while I was slaving away. Love it.
Dedication. Dedication from the
Absolutely
members.
dedication to the cause. So
Brilliant.
yeah, good morning everybody. Happy Friday. It is, I cannot believe it's the 21st of August. It's
Yeah.
absolutely mental. But thank you for joining us. We want to take the opportunity today to talk you through a little bit about what we get up to at the Financial Planning Club. We used to say we were totally known for just being a complete webinar content machine, but now we're probably known for yellow branding and quacky ducks.
Mm.
But let's fill in some gaps today for you and give you a bit more information about the real world, what we get up to, and how we can help, and maybe we're a fit for you. So, we want to talk to you about why the club was set up in the first place. So, the problem that we saw and the gap that we saw that we could potentially fill, what types of support that we offer. And then we're also going to share, because it's really important to give you the practical view, some real outcomes from member case studies and things that we've worked on with people previously. So, a quick introduction. You can see three of us in the room today, but I cannot not call out Jade Ling. Every business has a backbone, and she is ours. So, our club coordinator, Jade Ling, worked with Lewis and Lee for a long, long time in their recruitment business and has now transferred over to the club, which is super exciting. My co hosts today, Lee and Lewis, have run an incredibly successful and continue to run an incredibly successful recruitment business in financial services. I know them because I was a client of theirs. So that's how we got to know each other. My background is 23 years in the network space, so covering various roles, operations, recruitments, and running a self employed and an employed appointed representative. So, why we came together, apart from the fact that I was made redundant and I needed a job and I ran Lewis, there was a business idea brewing in the background. So, let's talk about what we saw. So, running an advice business, you have so many different hats. Okay, especially if you're starting from scratch and you're a solo advisor, but even we see in our larger firms where there's leaders who are advisors, they're trying to run a business, they're navigating a large number of people. We often find you've walked into being a HR person and that wasn't necessarily what you set out to do. But being the reality of running a business advice, the reality of running an advice business means you're constantly making decisions. You're wearing too many hats. Growth can bring complexity. It's not always clarity. You're layering on more clients, more servicing, and more people. But what we also found is it could feel quite lonely and quite isolating. And I think layer on that with, COVID and remote working and working by yourself can generally feel lonely. But then as a business owner, you don't want to like lean on your team and moan to them. So as I said earlier, a simple message to a group to let people know that they're not feeling alone is one of the things that we help support with. So the gap that we kept seeing between us, so if you think from Leah Lewis's point of view, in the recruitment business, the answer isn't always throw another body at it. It's not, we need another paraplanner, we need another administrator, I want to grow overnight, here, find me an advisor. That's not necessarily the real world. And they were talking themselves out of recruitment business by saying, actually, what you need to do is go and review your processes. Is your business set up to bring in a new advisor? Can you give them leads? Can you support them culturally? So those are the things that they were seeing. And from my perspective, networks and compliance providers exist for all the absolute right reasons to give people plenty of technical and compliance support. But what I noticed was there was a real lack of business owner support. So one of my sort of light bulbs about 6 months into setting the club up was I ran a recruitment team in a network. You can imagine an expense bill of technically a sales team bringing new business into the network. And if that money had been repurposed on the ones that were in-house, it's your whole 80-20. It potentially would have been a better split. So what we're trying to do is leave the networks and the compliance providers to do their bit. We'll support the business owners behind the scenes, and whether that's personal development, whether that's growth, whether that's preparing for exit, whether that's building a team, we touch all facets. And then again, creating space for people to think and mix, and that community's become so important, and you'll hear that word a lot, but I think it's really valuable. And we wanted to create a community where you could have a light touch interaction, or you could actually get in a room with people, chat, share ideas. And what we've loved to see over the 2 years that we've been up and running is how open and honest and sharing people have been. There's no sort of closed rooms, this is my business, I'm not telling you what I'm up to. Everybody's been really open and vulnerable and willing to share what they've been up to. So that's been amazing. So who do we work with? So we work with advice firm owners and leaders, and Lee will talk about it shortly. But our main consultancy service, which again Lee will cover off, is advice firm owners and leaders. So people who are looking to navigate growth or change. Let me just point out here, I always use the statement, we meet people where they're at. So you are not going to come into the Financial Planning Club and be given targets and told what you need to achieve. If you tell us that you want to sit steady on your client numbers, but you want to work on your processes, we will work with you on what you want to work on. Don't get me wrong, we might challenge, we might push, we might suggest, but we're not here to, get you to create a business that you don't want to create. I think use us as a bit of a sounding board. We've got people who just want to run a better business. So whether that is efficiencies, whether that is, rapid growth, whether that's building the team, whether that's them stepping away. And then finally, just to say, the age of the firm really doesn't impact who we work with, whether you're just starting, whether you're a few years in, whether you're 10 years in. Going back to that point, we meet you where you're at, means that we can work with anybody.
Just a quick one before you move on there, Amanda. I think it's just quite nice just to share one piece. We just onboarded a member called James. I've been doing some work with the PFS over in Kent and in London, like our face-to-face workshops. And a member off the back of that was like, I loved everything that we're doing, Lewis, but I need more one-on-one support. And when we started to put his 3-year business plan together, he's an individual advisor, directly authorised. He's got his wife working the business. It seems to be a theme for us. We have many husband and wife duos in our communities, and sometimes we're agony aunts as well as like business mentors. And then he's got a full-time administrator. So the key thing there was he's realised he's kind of plateaued as a business owner, and he's thinking, what's that next phase look like? So when we put some like financial targets behind it, you know, he's at 30, wants to get to 50 million in 3 years, and that didn't light him up. You know, it really didn't. And I think that's where particularly the value really came in for him, because I was like, what does that mean for you personally? Okay. What do you actually want for your business? So we've got people sitting on here today. So as we go through this, what do you actually want? What do you truly want from your business? Okay, that for me is really important. And linking that 50 million to that new big house that he wants to purchase, so it means he can draw X, Y, Z to get the mortgage that he wants. That was his motivation. That has motivated his wife to take more hours on and do more in the business. Okay, so it's really important to link back to your purpose and your why, because at the end of the day, you can sit on this webinar, we can tell you how wonderful we are, because we are, but you've got to believe in yourself. Do you know what I mean? You've got to believe in what you want to truly build. And that for me is really, really important. You know, you've got to know what you want to build, or we can help you encourage you to go, what do you want from your business? Is it work-life balance? Is it flexibility? Is it that house? You know, because your business and your personal ambitions are so aligned, you won't have the motivation. So that was just something that I was thought reference to James recently.
Just touching in on that, it's very similar to when somebody wants to retire or sell their book of business.
That's true.
One of the first questions that you should be asking yourself is, what are my plans in retirement? You know, and we'll very much ask that question all the time as well. What are your plans in retirement? Because 9 times out of 10, if you don't have any plans for retirement, you'll find it a lot harder letting go of something, because you'll just continue to do it. So it all goes back to planning, doesn't it?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for interjecting that. Really important. And it links into this around why people work more closely with us. We've often been referred to as a little bit like a non-exec director. So that external thinking partner, you know, in particular in those husband and wife environments, but not exclusive to that. That external party who's not got an emotional attachment to your business, but has got a view and an opinion, but has also got access and experience to what other people are up to. So that external thinking partner is becoming really powerful. And I've been with a leadership team recently who are, you know, slightly butting heads. And they've gone, right, we need an external party just to not mediate, but just help us navigate through this. Otherwise, we're just going to be doing the same things over and over. And then there's others out there that might be like, I literally don't know how to get from A to B. We've done some great exercises with people going, what's your business look like now? What do you want it to look like? Going back to Lewis's, you know, the aspirational piece. And people sit and stall because they don't know how to get from A to B. And we will happily work with people to map out that A to B, but then to hold their hand to make sure it happens. Because what I don't think we appreciated when we kicked off was how important the accountability piece was going to be. So we've all been to an event, we've all read a book, we've all listened to an amazing podcast. But what you do with it afterwards is the really important bit. And we work with people over a longer period of time to make sure that things actually happen. We've been, you know, told we're good at the application of theory. That extra pair of eyes on the business, I've referred to that a little bit already, but just somebody who's looking at it from a different lens, who's got that other view, and an extra pair, you know, not at the price of a normal non-exec director as well, I should point out. And then I have a statement, the only constant in life is change. The change is always happening. So we might set out a 3-year business plan with you at the beginning, but things will come up. People will leave, things will change in the market. You might need more support. You know, we're seeing a lot of things around AI and helping people with that at the moment. So then you've got somebody on hand, a little bit like on tap, to go, help, I'm going through some change. I need some support. And then I've mentioned that wider pool of knowledge. So we've got our community, our club membership, we've got our collaboration partners, which we don't particularly talk about in this session, but we've got a whole host of collaboration partners with different expertise that we will reach out and find the right person. It's a bit like dating. Reach out and find the right person that you need in that moment. Or we will go, hang on a second, these guys are up to something over here. You need to speak to them, vice versa. So that works really well. So Lee, will you take us through sort of ways of touch points in the club, please?
Yeah, definitely. I think the communities are It's a good one. So this is really where everything started many, many years ago, particularly within the recruitment business. And that was just about bringing people together, right? So we were speaking to a lot of power planners, that there was the only power planner within the four walls of their business. So when it actually come to bouncing ideas off of people, they were pretty stuck. If they wanted to go and do some research, it was solo research. You know, it was off on Google, it was off on other things, trying to find the answers that they were looking for. I remember speaking to about 5 or 6 different power planners and said, look, would you benefit if I just put you in a group with other power planners that are in a similar situation to yourself, where you can all bounce ideas off of each other, ask questions and support each other in, you know, more than one way. They all agreed that would be the best thing ever. Fast forward to today, you know, that power planner WhatsApp group, I think there's over 500 power planners in that group now, from all different size firms and backgrounds. And it's exactly that. I mean, we have busy days in there, you know, around the budget time and everything else. And when a bit of news comes out, it does get very busy in there. But it's just simple questions, and, you know, not even simple. It's just questions with instant responses. And I think that's what's really important. Not many people like going onto a forum, you know, logging in and putting it in an open forum. WhatsApp's where, you know, so many of us hang out, right? Whether it's communicating with your friends or communicating with your family, everybody reaches for WhatsApp 9 times out of 10. So that's where we built the community on WhatsApp. You can literally pop yourself on there, ask any question, and know within minutes that you're going to get a response from somebody that's either just done that particular type of advice or gone through a similar case. So it works really well. One thing I'd always recommend is you mute the group, just mute it, because there are some people that don't sleep and you don't want your phone pinging off at silly hours of the day. So we'd always say mute the group and go in and, just interact and help others as much as you can. So it is all about just conversations and shared experience. And it's absolutely a safe space to ask questions and share the odd cat picture, which it's been known for as well. I think people do share, I'm working at home today and here's the dog that's helping me. So yeah, that's a really, really cool community. And it's the same with the others. So there's 5 separate groups now. So we've got the financial advisor, we've got power planners, we've got mortgage advisors, we've got business owners, ops managers, and member only. So, well, I think we're up to 6 or 7 communities now, right? But you don't go into all of them. You only go into the one that is most suited to you in the role that you play within your business. So you're networking with like-minded people all of the time. Next slide, please. Different ways to experience a club. Content via webinars. Unfortunately, I'm known as the webinar guy. I got called that at an event the other week. Oh, you're the webinar guy. I was like, I'm probably, yeah, okay, fine. I'll just stick with the webinar guy. So every Friday and sometimes a Wednesday, typically at around 10 o'clock, as Amanda touched on, with our collaborators, we like to bring content to our wider audience. We're, accredited by the LIBF to give CPD. So every hour session comes with a CPD certificate, and we touch on various different points, that can support, benefit, and help you pivot in your business as well. So from compliance, marketing, platforms, NPS, and just building advice businesses and supporting clients and everything in between, we're always running a webinar that might be sort of relevant to what you're going through at the moment. Our library is huge now. I think we've got 52 hours of recorded content from webinars. Off the back of our webinars, we've got a LinkedIn newsletter that we feed into as well, along with our monthly newsletter from the club. And Lewis is famous for the podcasts, aren't you, Lou? You like your podcast. That's your little baby. I think we're 100 episodes maybe on the podcast now?
Yeah, it's wild. So good.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
It is. So 100
it starts
episodes.
Next week again, I think.
Kick it off next week. Yeah. Yeah, next week.
I go to Amanda to acknowledge what actually goes on. I turn up, deliver, and then we need someone to make it all work.
That's it. Look, the podcasts are great because it is owner managers of financial planning firms. It's the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, and everything in between, really. What are they, an hour long?
Yeah,
about an hour long. Yeah. So look, wherever you're traveling, if you want to listen to somebody, just find out what really motivates them, what they're doing in their business, what they've struggled with, their successes, the podcast is a really good place. Available on all of your platforms as well. So do check where that is. And in case I started
Lee, that
valuable content via webinars, newsletters, and podcasts.
that was like a radio advert coming to you live on your local radio service.
Oh gosh,
Brilliant.
Thank you very much for the compliment. Our in-person events are just awesome, right? We pick it up, we take it around the UK, Manchester, Bristol, London, Glasgow. It's just a really good place where we bring our ideas to life. Exclusive to owner managers of financial planning firms, so you pretty much know the people that you're networking with are in a similar situation to yourself. We think that's best for sharing good ideas. The path you're walking, somebody's probably already walked that path and got some good answers and some good experience to share with you. Nobody puts their cards close to their chest at our event. I mean, how many times have we been to an event and people have got notebooks and, they've got the world's best idea that, they're not going to share with anybody. What we do at our events is create a bit of an environment where collaboration is at the heart of what we do, right? If you're not willing to just be vocal and participate and challenge other people, then maybe our events aren't for you, because it's pretty hands-on. We do get involved in different things. So this whole content, the whole series that we've run for the last 12 months is about intergenerational communication. So just communicating with different generations, really about establishing your why, about why you do what you do and why you've set up a financial planning business, and building a repeatable referral program. So there's different things that we bring to life with our in-person events. And remote workshops, I mean, they are growing arms and legs every single day, from business development to roles and responsibilities, organizational charts, whatever it may be. We run a lot of remote workshops online. Lou, what do you think the most popular workshop is? I know you're doing a client fees one at the moment as well.
Yeah, I think probably at the moment, it is probably fees or process, to be fair, at the moment. Just how many advisors and planners are undercharging or aren't competent in communicating fees. I think that's a real big one, to be fair. So that's definitely something that is quite popular.
I'm going to jump in there then, because Lee's just talked about what we're doing at our previous set of events, so we finished that content that Lee's just talked about in.
Is there an exclusive coming up, Amanda?
Exclusive, yeah.
Exclusive.
In Glasgow. But on the 6th of November, we kick back off in London, and those sessions, again, going around those locations next year, that Lee said, so Manchester, Bristol. I think we're heading to Belfast. I've got a fond fan of Northern Irish advisors. They don't get a lot of support over there. So Lewis is seeing this as a new exclusive.
Yeah, Lewis's face is just amazing. He's just like, what is she? What's going on here?
Oh, guys, well, that is an exclusive, because I had no idea we're going to Belfast.
That was the email you didn't read, Lou.
That's great. That's great.
Just turn up, mate. Just turn up. But the content on there is massively focused on communication. So if you've ever heard of Insights Discovery, I'm not going to go into it now, but it's a whole piece around knowing yourself and your colour energies in respect of how you communicate. So we're doing a session on that. We've got an external speaker talking about storytelling, so how to present yourself, how to do that introduction and get your story across when you're with clients. And then Lewis is going to tap into those different types of conversations that you might struggle with and how to break those down and tackle them. So that just felt important to call out if that fees workshop, but there's also a live in-person series of events starting on the 6th of November in London, traveling around the country next year. And yeah, do not expect to come to one of our events, sit back, listen and get CPD. I did 13 years in events at the network, and it was all provider content. I'm fighting against that in our space to make sure it's really valuable. Not that their content isn't valuable, but really interactive, valuable business owner content. So yeah, exclusive all round there.
Exclusive, eh?
There you go. Belfast, here we come.
Yeah. So yeah, look, that's on the community side. The business owner mentoring is exactly what Amanda's used all of the best buzzwords and left me with none really. But it's exactly that. It is giving you that thinking space. You've got to see us as your mentors, your coaches, your sounding boards. Really, there to keep you in line, give you that accountability that you're looking for as well. But it's more than just that. It's the 30 plus other, members that are a part of our community now, that have been there, done it, and got the t-shirt. You're not doing this alone. And it's very important, what Amanda said about we meet you where you're at. People that join our business and, join the club, it's not a blueprint, a one size fits all. We're not saying this is our interpretation of a great financial planning firm. This is what you should be doing. If you do this and it will prove, whatever that may be. This isn't a blueprint. This is what do you want and how do you want your business to look? And we'll just build you the stepping stones to get there. And it's pretty much as simple as that. And as Amanda said, if it's not us, it's our other members within the group. And if it's not them, it's our collaborators. And if it's not them, there's somebody there within our community that can absolutely help you. So when you've got those ideas, I mean, how many WhatsApp messages do you guys get, voice notes from somebody that's just got an idea and it's just a bit of a brain dump, because they probably know if you write it down on that book or that piece of paper on your desk, it will get forgotten about, or you'll probably lose your book if you're anything like me. When you drop it in this WhatsApp group, you best believe, we're going to follow up on that. You're going to get an email. We spoke about this. Where are we at? Let's have a meeting. Let's set it up. Let's put this in practice. I know one of our members said, I've always wanted to build a podcast. I've always wanted to host a podcast. And within a matter of weeks, Amanda's put everything in place. And now, did it win an award recently?
It's an award-winning podcast now, yes.
So if you ever had an idea about setting up an award-winning podcast, right? That's Amanda. Now, bearing in mind that our podcast isn't award-winning, which I'm going to
We need to enter some awards, actually, Amanda. That needs to be one of your actions. So that's one of your
actions on a live webinar now.
Yeah,
so wild, guys.
There you go.
We host a webinar, but not an award. We help you create award-winning webinars. We just don't host them ourselves.
Our members first.
That's what we do. We are not selfish people. We put you before us. Your business before ours, okay?
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do, actually. But as well, we don't give the blueprint. But if people wanted the blueprint, because you usually find there's one area of a business that people do really like. It's a real blind spot for them. Usually it's processes. So if people do want that, this is what you should be doing. We can do that. I'm just really keen to make people know that we're not in charge, that they're in the driving seat.
Exactly that. Next slide, please. So what do you get? Yeah, exactly that. So we're very fond believers of having a plan, and sticking to a plan as much as you can. So from day one onboarding, we'll sort of create a 3-year business plan, a 12-month roadmap, 90-day sprints, bigger picture stuff. I mean, I am the world's worst. I think the guys will probably back me up on this. I'm the world's worst for bigger picture stuff. All right. 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I'm like, guys, I don't even know what I'm having for dinner tomorrow. Right. And you're asking me what I want my business to look like in 10 years time. But, having that 3-year plan is incredible. Don't get me wrong. 12 months is even better. Give me a 90-day sprint and we're all over it. Right. So it's just about taking that bigger picture, really breaking it down into actionable steps. It's the personalized workshops and the round tables and the drop-ins that keep you aligned, keep you focused, and keep you working towards that next 90-day sprint. So if we're talking about business development and you want to increase AUM or whatever it may be, we've got workshops that you can attend to help you drive you towards that goal. So we think that's incredibly important, and everybody gets that plan and that clear roadmap and accountability along the way as well. Insights discovery, love this. wasn't a fan of participating in it when it comes to answering all of the questions. Well, I say all of them. There's not many of them, about 30 or 40 questions. Because it's always one of those tests where you think, am I like this or am I a bit wrong? It does get you thinking sometimes, but the output was incredibly scary. It was. I even gave it to Jen and she was like, yeah, that's you. That's exactly how did they get that from 40 questions? I'm like, I don't know. It's just incredible stuff. But the Insight Discovery profile is what members get as well. And it's really about how to improve, plan and communicate. I know full well if I've got an idea, I have to really communicate that differently to Lewis. And Lewis knows that very much the same as me as well. So it's really about communicating better within your team. And it's very insightful, as the name is aligned to. The peer community, I know I've spoke about this a hell of a lot, but just having access to that peer community and just having people around you is just so good. Check-ins for accountability is one thing, but now our quarterly events are face-to-face as well for members only, aren't they, guys? So where we used to do a lot of things online and remotely, Amanda's just brought the quarterly check-ins for members to life and in person. And do you know what was a really good session when we done it a couple of months ago was when you got everybody to challenge everybody's thought process. So now we're on a table with 4 or 5 members. A member's got an idea and it's now 4 other members challenging them. But why and how? And can you do this? And what have you thought? And it was just really good that member sits back and goes, yeah, no, I didn't actually think of it like that. It's just that different idea and that different angle, because it's not all about us delivering, it's the members, their participation as well is absolutely incredible. So hats off for that idea, Amanda. That went down really well. Look, naturally, we give you the templates, the tools, really to increase that consistency within your business as well. Sometimes, you need to start from a blank canvas, but sometimes it's not always the case. There are tools and templates ready for people to use within their business. I've touched on the quarterly reviews to really reset your priorities. We said we was going to do this. Where are we at? Are we still on track? Are we still working towards that 12-month roadmap? Are we still moving the needle towards the 3-year business plan as well? The nudges, look, if you put anything in the WhatsApp community, Amanda and Lewis are going to nudge you, nag you, and everything else before we can start putting the wheels in motion. Prep, follow up, really when client work takes over, right? So Amanda touched on it. You set up a financial planning business, you're wearing not just your client cap anymore or just your advising cap. You're wearing your marketing, your compliance, your back office, your operations, your processes. You see, you're wearing so many caps, and all you want to do is just be left alone and run your business the way that you want to run it. And that's probably why people set up as a DA firm, to get away from the constraints and just have a little bit more independence and do things that you want to do. But we don't realize that we fall into HR and mentoring your own team and one-to-ones. And this is all before you've even spoke to your client and done your annual review, right? So we're here to help, nudge, prep, and everything in between. And look, the support we're now providing to the wider team, it's not purely for the owner managers. Lou's doing a hell of a lot of work with one of our members at the moment and all of their support staff. He's literally running one-to-ones and development and supporting the wider team now as well. So it's a very, very exciting place. It's a very exciting time. And it's a journey we're going on as well, right? It's good.
Oh, this is me.
This is you, Lou.
Ah, at last. Oh, finally. No, I'm joking.
What are you saying? We're boring?
No, my part is just giving you a little bit of some case studies of some members that we've particularly been working with. So no, I'm not going to read out what's on there. You can read that, in your own time. But Lee's a member that we've been working with pretty much since inception, really, the last 2 years or so. I think it's been now 2 and a bit years. Originally was a recruitment client as well, which is where the relationship started. Really well-established firm going back probably about 20, 30 years. Originally part of a law firm. So that's where the kind of business kind of pushed out on, and really well established organization, really, really profitable. But, he just felt like his business has stagnated a little bit. So he's thinking, well, what is next? What do I truly, truly want from the organization? And the comment that he said to me specifically was, I feel like the business is running me, and I'm not running the business, which is very, very common in financial planning businesses. As businesses start to grow, and as I do that, I'm going to move to my neck here. Okay. And that's absolutely on purpose, because you are the bottleneck within your organization. So some things we've done quite early on was really clear roles and responsibilities in the business. And his wife also works in the business, Emma. And she was like, I just don't really have my lead. He's working so many hours, and that was a really, really important factor. We jump forward. Actually, I think his podcast is coming out next week. I think he is the first, because I recorded him originally, and then I did another recording with him a couple of years on. And I actually was recording just to see how he's developed. I mean, it was actually quite a nice recorded, because he actually spoke how much we've helped, which was really nice, actually. I said to Lee, I think I said it on the podcast, I said, I wasn't bringing you on for you to tell me all the stuff that we've done that's been really positive, but thank you. But if we jump forward, to today, profits are now up, I think 27%. We've increased the business, and profits are up about 27% on last year. It's a nice bit of 27% growth, so nearly 30% growth. Roles and responsibilities, are absolutely aligned now, which is amazing for me. Identifying stuff that he was doing that he should not be doing as an owner manager. Okay. Absolutely should not be doing as an owner manager. Recruited, he's grown. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey, particularly with Lee in that particular one there. Next one is going to be Rob. So Rob is again a member. I actually know this chap. I know Rob for about 8 years. So originally employed, then he went self-employed, then he changed networks, etc., etc. So he was like, Lewis, you know me, you know my business, you know what I'm trying to do. So he's an individual sole advisor underneath a network, and quite successful. Very, very successful advisor. Really clear on what he truly, truly wants. Okay, he knows he wants to take 6 weeks off over the summer period, and we're building a business specifically around that. Outsources power planning. Got a wonderful admin that basically keeps him accountable, which is really important. For Rob. But some really key things here was really about his clients. So a real big work around client segmentation. What clients do you actually want? He does not need any clients. Okay. He is absolutely profitable. So for me, it's about, well, what we're going to do to grow the business in the right direction. And a key thing here was thinking about the type of clients he actually wanted to be working with. So do a lot of work on the his business development process, the type of clients he wants to be known for. Spent a lot of time dealing with that, and really started to identify his key type of client, in which we noticed that he could actually look to just deal with £1 million clients only. So that was his one thing that we were doing, that you will not take on any clients unless they've got £1 million, okay, per client. And he's absolutely on track for that. Fast forward, before we did that, we started to look at his fees. So what is he actually charging? Notice he's a fixed fee advisor. So he noticed that since putting in his fixed fee model, that he hadn't increased his fee in any way, shape or form. So he went back round, did a little bit of fee work with him, increased all of his fees, things like just under 20 grand in the first 6 months. So I mean, he's paid our 6 grand fee 3 times over. So that's an absolute win from that side. So yeah, little wins and that, but it's giving you the confidence and the structure to go, what is your fees? Why are they your fees? Okay. What does that actually look like? How many hours are you spending with that client? What is your minimum fee that you need to operate profitably as a business? Do certain clients need to be moved to transactional? Are you charging enough for your A clients? How many A clients do you want to build the business that you truly want? So it's really going a little bit deeper than probably what, most individuals or most firms go to. But we do that on a more, specific basis on that front. And then finally, we look at larger firms. So we have project based. So I always say, if I think about the demographic of our clients, okay, so we've got about 30 odd members in total now. And that ranges from 1/3 of those are individual advisory firms, normally up to 3 years old. The next third are already really well established firms, okay, and they're looking to improve processes, change, maybe look at their teams a little bit, look at what growth really looks like, really get them back on a page. And then the other third is in this this section. So these are larger firms, okay, where we will work very much on a one-on-one basis. So this is not kind of the standard membership model with 500 quid a month, okay? This is much more project-based, and we'll go through a specific journey with them. So there's 3 different examples here. One was a 15-person IFA business, really getting the leadership team really aligned and ready for that growth, looking at pods and everything like that to make sure that's the most efficient way of growing the business. What I have after this call, 11 o'clock, is my every 2-week meeting with, it's actually 19 in the advisory team now. They've recruited. So I'm basically like a mini sales manager, if you like. Looking at the client and then the behavioural side of financial planning. So how are we articulating fees to our client? How are we able to win more clients? So a big brief for me on that was we want to improve first meetings from the leads that are coming through. And we've been able to increase first meetings by 25%, which is an absolute massive win across nearly 20 advisors. So that's a key project base on that one. And then our lovely firm that you probably see down all over our socials, Hansford Bell, 5 in their leadership team, taking them through a program over the next 12 months. They've been talking about us till the cows come home, which is absolutely amazing. Great business, and really, really focusing them as a leadership team. And what we often find is having everyone in their clear lanes. You know, everyone knows what they're accountable for every single day, and we get out of our way. You know, a bit like we've just had a live example today. A manager just set a new date for Belfast and I will just turn up, okay? That's not my role. My role is not to organise all this stuff. I get out of that way. So should you. So many times the advisor, the owner manager, puts your nose in where you shouldn't, okay? Get out of the way of your team. Trust your team. If you don't trust your team, what stats can we put behind that will give you the confidence to know that you can trust your team, okay? That leadership thing is, and alignment is so important, so important. And then is this you? Okay, so just a couple of statements here to get you kind of thinking about you. I'm going to jump down to the second from last one. You know, running the business can feel lonely and surprisingly lonely, even when everything looks fine from the outside. So you're probably sitting here thinking, I'm making money, you know, I'm making good profits, I've got the lifestyle that I want, and that's absolutely fine, you know. All I want you to think about is this what you want from your business? You might be 30, you might be 40, you might be 50. What does that next phase actually look like for you? And it's thinking about, you don't need to do it on your own. Okay, it's really, really important. You don't need to do that on your own. You can have that sounding board. So I get a lot of people join that will go, oh, I've done like the strategic coaches. I've been to BNI. I've done all the networking. You know, are you similar to that? Not really. Okay. We're not like a strategic coach. Yes, we've got theory. Yes, we're going to give you that support, that direct coaching, but it's specific to financial planning only. Okay. A strategic coach has no idea about where you run your money, how you make your money, how your fees work, all the different bits and all the technical jargon of financial planning. Okay. They'll give you, you can do this, and that coaching element. But the important bit is understanding the planning side, the financial planning side that makes our businesses really unique. The top one as well, I think, is really relevant. I spend all day helping clients make great decisions, but I really get time and space to think properly about my business. It's so true. You know, one of the biggest lessons and one of the real purposes why, you know, we really wanted to start the Financial Planning Club is 2 years into our recruitment business. Okay. Me and Lee didn't have an absolute bloody Scooby what we were doing. Okay. We had no direction. You know, I hadn't worked for a big corporate before. I made some money in a previous business. So that typical entrepreneurial view, I get that, but I don't really think it's me, but you know, it is what it is. And we got in a support, we got in a mentor, we got in a coach. And within 12 months, we doubled the turnover of our business, you know, and that for us was a real big game changer in the support that we really wanted to build in financial planning. Jump forward, you know, now 10 years running that business, 2 years running this, you know, we wanted to bring that same support back. You need to spend time working on your business. You know, it is absolutely vital. Otherwise, your business will just run with you. And we get to firms that we're speaking with now, you know, one poor director is 72 years old and now suddenly realised he probably needs to think about retirement. He's left it so late, you know. We need to do so much now to get his business in a shape to actually get it ready for sale. You know, so it's certain little things that we individually go through. Next slide, please. Of course, thanks, Boris.
Lou, before you go on to this, can I just pick up a question that's just gone into the chat?
Yes, absolutely. Please do it.
So Andrew's saying, whilst I appreciate you have lots of ideas, have any of you actually run an IFA practice? So yes, me.
Yes,
So I in my intro, I've probably skirted over it like we do in our intros. I need to do the storytelling piece that Alfie Joey is going to teach us later in the year. So I have run a employed business which was sold, and I have run a built from scratch a self-employed franchise business, which was also dispersed as part of the network closure where I was at. So that was part of the reason that Lee and Lewis wanted me to sort of come into the business with them. They'd had the brainchild. I became available at a very appropriate moment. But I was technically their target market. I had that different level of experience of being in a business. And as I say, both employed and self employed. I completely admit none of us are advisors by trade, but that's not
absolutely
the
not.
area that we're tapping into. That's what I believe, going back to what I said earlier about the networks and the compliance providers. You are the subject matter expert of being an advisor, but you've typically fallen into being a business owner, and that's the gap that we're trying to bridge. But yes, I have done it previously, so hopefully that answers your question, Andrew, and thanks for calling me out, because I obviously need to lean on that a little bit more to share our experience.
And also, Andrew, I think the big shift as well, and what we absolutely love and kind of trained in as well, is kind of like operating systems as well. So we are massive fans, okay, of the Traction model. Okay. So if you've not read Traction, Andrew, go out and go on Amazon today and buy Traction. Okay. That is very much what we will implement into financial planning firms. Okay. Giving you the structure to run your business and run it profitably and get out of the way of doing the job that you need to do. You know, that might be the CEO, that might be the MD, that might be the advisor, and you might want to bring in somebody to run the operations side of your business. So it's really thinking about the actual toolkit that you need to run a successful financial planning firm. And the caveat is it's all in the financial planning space, basically.
Thank you.
So what's next? So go and have a look on the podcast. Okay. So go on to all wherever you receive your apps, Apple, Amazon, Spotify.
Do you want me to
And
do
go,
that bit? I could do that bit for you if you want.
oh yeah, go on then.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, he's gone nervous.
Oh,
Look, 'cause
God,
so podcast, listen to owner managers, okay? Their stories. Have a little listen. It's absolutely it's good fun. And sometimes I like to get people outside their comfort zone a little bit more. Also, we've got our webinars every single week. Have a little look at our newsletter. The next event that we have coming up is in Glasgow. That's over in September. So anyone that's from Glasgow. And then we're starting our train again from later on in the year in November, London, Manchester, Leeds, Bristol, and Belfast. So yeah, we're back doing our little road shows. Then we've got Experience the Club. So we did a lot of work and a lot of like individual like mentoring, and we wanted to find a way of like working with us and understanding a little bit how we work. So we run a 6-week program, all free. Okay, Tatton has been a massive supporter of that to really help owner managers. So it's a 6-week program covering 6 areas to run a profitable financial planning business. So I don't know when the next cohort is actually off memory, because I think we're doing a bespoke one for Corbell, I think at the end of the year. But that will be coming live most likely in January. We are doing PFS Power, which is a small segment of that, which runs from January. And then we will be doing a very similar, more intense workshop of Experience the Club, which again is 6 workshops, and that's all face-to-face. That'll be through the PFS. So we're looking to run them probably in 3 locations up and down the country next week, and then join the community. So they're all our free content. You can consume that as much as you want to. So yeah, absolutely get involved and ask any questions to see what it's all about.
Yeah, and just to call out the bit at the bottom, so anybody that's registered today and has watched us or watched the recording, we'll send you all the links. If you're watching this on a catch up, just drop a message to hello@thefpclub.com and we can get any of the information sent out to you. But our website is pretty split by the areas that you can see on the screen as well.
Lovely. And then finally, I'm going away on Tuesday, so you can't book in my diary because I'm going on my first solo trip, which I'm very excited about, everyone. Can't wait. But if you want to have a quick chat with Amanda to tell us a little bit about your business, that'd be really, really interesting. Okay. And don't hesitate to book in a call with Amanda to have a little run through of that. And what I would say before you booking a call, okay, I would just ask yourself, okay, because it's always a question that we ask on the first meeting, okay, what is the biggest challenge your business is currently facing in your business? Okay. And what impact is that having? Okay. So if you think about answering that question beforehand, that really helps shape, you know, the conversation so we can definitely support. So thank you so much for listening. Have a lovely Friday and look forward to speaking to you all very soon. Thanks, team. Smashed it. Well done.
Well done, everyone.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming along. As always, we're back next week on Friday. We are with Bear Rock and we're talking all things PI and compliance and everything else. So yeah, we've got a really good webinar session coming up. Any questions whilst we hang around for the last sort of 10 minutes? Do let us know if you've got any questions. If not, have a great weekend and we'll speak to you all soon.
Lovely.
Well done, guys. Thank you.